ahead and get started. I know many of you had in the previous meetings because of an older son or daughter, so some of this can seem repetitious, but it still is important that you get the information, and if there happens to be any kind of changes from previous meetings, that you can note that. If you don't know me, I'm Tom DeQuincy. I'm the high school counselor, and this is College Credit Plus. Many of you from years ago may recall it's called post-secondary enrollment options, but over the last 5 or 6 years, it's gone under the title of College Credit Plus with some advantages for the student. I'm going to try my best to answer questions in general about the positives and negatives of the program. But if any time you have a question, please feel free to let me know you have a question, and we'll stop to try to answer it. I do not claim to be an expert on this. I don't like to say I'm an expert on anything, because if you say that, you can have yourself in trouble. But I've been doing this a long time, so hopefully I'll have the answer for you, or at least note your question and find out for you. If you follow the first page, I'm going to try to go right down that list. That's your information page. Basically, I'm wanting to give you advantages and disadvantages for the students and for the parents in the audience. Are there any students that are going to be 7th graders next year, by chance? This program, since it was started under the heading of CCP, is open to 7th grade through 12th grade. And that's a big thing to say for young people. In some ways it's good, in some ways there are some concerns. And that's what I'm hoping we can bring to light here. Even a 9th or 10th grader is a young person taking this on, so I want to make sure we get the understandings of that. First thing I want to emphasize to students and parents, the acceptance is the decision of the college or university. It is not my decision. For example, when I'm scheduling for a high school course, yeah, I can squeeze you in that class, or no, I can't get you in that class. It doesn't work that way. You do have to be accepted by whatever particular college you're applying to for College Credit Plus. I have no pull on that even. I can't call and say, oh, come on, I know this student's a really good student. If they're going to stick to their policy, they're going to stick to their policy. Because the big thing to emphasize is you may be in high school, or you may be middle school if you're a 7th grader, but you are in college if you take these classes. And you are a college student, and that's where it comes back to being their decision. What they look at for acceptance once you apply is obviously your high school transcript and your GPA. They're very interested in the courses the students take. What level of math, what level of English, that type of thing. And then they could also give you what is called an AccuPlacer placement test. And the AccuPlacer can be a substitute for the ACT, College Readiness Benchmarks, or if the student has the ACT benchmarks already, they can say that student does not have to take the AccuPlacer. So again, that comes back to being their decision. A lot of times with a junior or senior to be, he or she's already taken the ACT, so they may have the college benchmarks, in which case they don't have to worry about the AccuPlacer, but a younger student, like a 9th or 10th grader, may have to. I jotted down here on my notes. For the ACT, OU looks at 18 in English, 20 in algebra, 22 in reading, if you've taken the ACT. That's what they look at for college readiness. Zane State looks at 18 in English and 22 in algebra. They do not look at the reading section. So again, this could vary from college to college. We've been fortunate, and I can't say it's set up yet for this year, but we have been fortunate because we have a relationship with Zane State College. If applications are in soon enough, they've actually come out here to the high school and as a large group gave the AccuPlacer. And I won't know that until I can tell them how many Zane State applications I had. And this question always comes up. If my son or daughter is applying to Zane State but also OUL, can those AccuPlacer scores go to OUL? Yes. But you have to contact Zane State. They will not take them from me. They have to come from the college that you took the AccuPlacer for. And OU might say you still have to take the reading section. The AccuPlacer for Zane State is strictly math and writing. For OUL, it's math, writing, and reading. So that's where OU might say you have to take the third section. I wanted to emphasize that because the sooner, once I explain the application process, the sooner I get a count for Zane State, the sooner I can let students know, hey, we're giving the AccuPlacer on such and such a date and time. It's free if we can give it here. If you have to take it at Zane State, it's $10. If you do not score well enough when the one you would take here, you can't take it again in 30 days at Zane State, but then you have to pay $10. So that's another reason why I'd like to get in here to save $10 if I can for you. High school, dropping the class, number 2. A student can't drop the class after a certain date. A student can drop a class within the first 15 days of when our class starts here or when the class starts at a college, all right? Because our starting date's always going to be a little different than the college because we always wait about 3 or 4 days with our CCP courses, giving the teachers time to really get everything explained to the student and get them understanding what they're going into. After a 15-day period, if the student drops a class, the student can be charged for the course. So I guess I should have mentioned right away, the nice thing about CCP is it's basically free. As far as taking college classes, Liberty Union's funding for a particular student, which I'll get into when I discuss the formula, goes to that college. So you are going free for the most part with these classes, unless, again, you drop it after the drop date that is designated 15 days after the starting date, or if you receive a failure in the course, then you have to pay for it. Because we feel, the state says, if a student fails a course, then they should have to pay for it. Books and materials, number 3. Books and material are the property of Liberty Union or the college. And I say it that way. For example, we have a lot of particular course books up in our library from students who have taken classes at OUL. So rather than us buying a book for you, we'll ask you to check in at the library first. And if we have the book, use our book and then return it to us. Let's say, for example, because psychology is very popular at OUL. So let's say we have 15 books in the library and 17 students are going to be in psychology, then yes, we will buy those 2 additional books. But again, they belong to us. And then the reason I said also could belong to the college because a lot of the lab kits, we've had students in the last couple of years taking biology classes through Zane State College online. And their lab kits have to be returned to the college when the course is over. Transcripts. You will have 2 transcripts if you decide to do this. You will have a high school transcript, which is your Liberty Union High School, and you will have a college transcript. So, for example, a student doing Zane State College classes here at Liberty Union High School, let's say he or she's in Mrs. Whitaker's pre-cal first semester, calculus second semester. That'll show on that student's Liberty Union transcript, but it will show as high school credit. In any college class, that's 3 college hours or more equals 1 high school credit. In the particular 2 classes I mentioned, pre-cal and calculus, I believe they're 5 credits each as college classes, but only 1 credit as high school classes. So the reason you want to be aware that you have a college transcript is seniors, for example, this year who are now pursuing their true college career, if they want to receive the college transfer of the credits, they have to then contact a particular college, whether it's OUL or Zane State or whatever as far as what college they're working with. Am I good and clear on that? Because I'll have students call me even after having meetings and say, I'm not getting credit with the college for the classes I took. Well, you have to contact the college to get the college credit for it. Credit value, I already mentioned that. A 3 college credit hour course or higher equals 1 high school credit. So, for example, our Comp 1 and Comp 2 that we teach here, they're 3-hour classes, but they're 1 high school credit each. The 2 math classes I mentioned, they're 5 college credits, but they're 1 high school credit each. A student is permitted up to 30 college hours per year, not to exceed 120. And again, the state's philosophy on that is 120 is pretty close to being a full-time college student. So they're looking at 30 per year. There is a formula for that, and it's kind of weird to follow, but if you look at number 6, if you take the number 30, and you have to subtract the high school credits that the student is taking, but you have to multiply the high school credit times 3, as if it was a 3-hour college class. So if you look at my example of student A, he's enrolled in Liberty Union High School for 3 credits. So you multiply that 3 times 3, that means 9. So 30 minus 9, that student can take 21 college credit hours. And that's kind of the things, one of the many things with this I have to mess with. So this is why I always tell students, for other reasons also, but in particular in this case, before you hit the yes button, so to speak, with the college, make sure you see me so we can make sure you're not going over. Because again, you can take more than you do have to pay for. And really it's supposed to be 15 and 15 for the 15 first semester, 15 second semester. But we just go by the 30 for the year, and it's been acceptable. If you look at my second example, student B, this student's taking 4 hours at the high school. So 4 times 3 equals 12. So 30 minus 12 is 18 college hours that that student can take. And again, it kind of sounds confusing, but is that pretty clear for everybody? And again, the goal is, if you can take 30, take 30. My philosophy on that is, be careful, especially a first-time college student. I kind of tell a student, maybe you should sneak up on college a little bit. Take 1 or 2 classes, see how it goes. 1 or 2 the next semester, see how it goes. Then if you still have a year or 2 of high school left, then you can really hit it hot and heavy. Because you have to remember this, going back to what I said when we started. You are a college student. So this will be a college transcript. And you don't want to start college at your young age, but have maybe D's and F's on it when you're basically an A-B student, because college is different. Career pathways. One of the big emphasis coming out is students trying not to just take classes, but work towards something. Now that's easier said than done. But again, if you're taking your basic, like freshman English, freshman math course that might be required, then you're getting into your sophomore English course for college, you're on a pathway with general courses. But this is interesting. Last year we had 3 boys, 3 students. This year we have 2. And I believe they qualify for their real estate license whenever they get a chance to take whatever it is that an agent has to take to get their license. Because they took all kind of real estate classes at Zane State, or through Zane State online. I thought it was pretty clever on their part personally. One young man that's a senior this year, he said, I'm going into business at Ohio State as far as my major, but I want to branch off into real estate at some point. So he really took a nice pathway for himself. At the high school here, we have pathways. We have an IT or infotech pathway. We have the obvious ag science pathway. We have a pre-engineering type pathway. So that's really kind of the push hitting high schools in general. Impact on students' graduation diploma. CCP courses or credits do apply towards your graduation. For example, a student is a junior. He or she takes Comp 1 English first semester. Full credit gets an A. That could be their junior English. Second semester takes Comp 2, receives an A. That could be their senior English. So technically, they do not have to take another high school English when they become a senior. CCP courses are used for required courses as well as electives, all right? That's very important to emphasize. The only kind of courses you cannot take in CCP is phys ed type courses. I guess the state doesn't want to pay for somebody to take badminton or archery or something like that. You can take fine arts. We've had students take different, like art history, art appreciation, music courses, things of that nature. Phys ed type courses are the only ones restricted by the state, excuse me. Impact on GPA and class rank. These grades go by the A, B, C, D that the college issues. All right? I can't, I'll have students say, man, I got all these A's and B's, but I got a C on that college course. Can't you just make that pass or pass-fail course? I can only have a course be pass-fail if the college designates it pass-fail. So if you're taking that Comp 1 through OUL or Zane State or whatever, and you receive an A-, that's the grade that would be on your high school transcript as well as your college transcript, and I want to emphasize that. These courses can be used if you are a student pursuing the diploma with honors. There's no reason you would have to worry about that because, again, if you can substitute them for a high school course, you obviously can substitute it for that high school course towards the diploma with honors. Here's a good one that a lot of our students do. We only offer Spanish, most of you know that. Honors diploma says 3 years of one foreign language. Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3. A lot of our students only want to take 2 years of Spanish. But then they'll, through the college, take American Sign Language 2 years or 2 semesters. Because American Sign Language can be accepted as a foreign language. And I don't recall any student trying to take French or German or anything like that. But I have had students also take 2 and 3 more courses in Spanish because the opposite, they really like Spanish as a class. I mentioned this with the dropping of the class, but at number 9, I've said it again. A course failure or no credit awarded, you will be charged for the course. And they determine the cost per credit hour. For example, this year, Zane State's not too bad. I think, because I just had to send a letter out to a student, I think it's $49.84 per credit hour this year. That's not bad. OUL is $166 something per credit hour. So besides the fact you don't want to have a negative on your transcript, you don't want to fail a course because it could cost you some money. And I've had some parents have interesting conversations about how my son or daughter will pay for that. And they figured out ways that their son or daughter will make that payment because they're a little upset that they wasted that opportunity to have a C, B, or A in a college class. Athletic eligibility. A CCP course counts twice for eligibility. That does not mean you get the credit twice. That means it counts twice to hit that number that you have to be eligible for athletics. And I tried to give you some examples. A Liberty Union High School student's taking government 1 credit hour, that's 1 towards eligibility. But he's also taking college algebra, so that can count twice for eligibility. And he's also taking Comp 1, and that can count twice for eligibility. So you add those up, 2, 4, 5, because that's the magic number you have to have per semester for an athlete to be eligible. Are there any athletes in here? I always stress to the athletes, when in doubt, the best thing to do is come and see me. Because obviously I want you to play sports. I'm not going to say, oh, if you can't play. I would tell you, and I've had it happen sometimes where I say, well, you either need to pick up another college class or pick up something with us. And they might say, well, there's really nothing here. I said, well, maybe check and see what we're offering online. There might be something there online you can pick up. Because again, you have to hit that magic 5. Questions on the eligibility. And again, that's why I stress to students who are athletes, That's the second reason, besides making sure everything's in order for graduation. That's the second reason why you would want to see me. Number 11, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This is an interesting one. This affects parents. You can call Mrs. Whitaker, and I mention her because she teaches the CCP math classes. You can call Mrs. Whitaker because right now your son or daughter might be in her Algebra 2 class, and she'll talk to you. Oh, she's not doing this, or he's doing that. But if you call Mrs. Whitaker about one of her CCP courses, if you haven't turned in the FERPA form, she can't talk to you. Because that's basically how it is for college students. And what we do is we have the forms available for what OU would use, what Zane State would use. We have them available if a parent wants to, have their son or daughter complete it, turn it in. We'll send it to the college, and then yes, you can talk to the particular teacher. But it's even like if your son or daughter is taking a class at OUL, and you call over there, they're going to tell you the same thing. Until that FERPA form is turned in, that professor will not talk to you. Transportation. Transportation is the responsibility of the student if you're going off campus. I like to tell you, this is kind of interesting. I had some time to kill, obviously, with the day ending at 3 o'clock. Here at the high school, through Zane State College, we offer Comp 1, Comp 2. You don't have to leave the high school. Next year, we're also adding British Lit and American Lit. So you have a chance to take 4 college classes if you're going to be here for at least 2 years. Math, we offer college statistics, college algebra, pre-calculus, calculus. So you have a chance to take 4 college math courses here. Business, we offer business management and financial accounting. The catch on financial accounting, and this always kind of catches up with some students, you had to have taken a college math course to take the financial accounting. We're offering some new classes through Zane State College. Any of you young people want to be a teacher? Want to be a guidance counselor? If you want to be a teacher, we're offering 2 education classes next year to put students on a pathway. We're offering a class called Intro to Education, and we're offering a class called Classroom Management. And that again is for students who think, and I must stress this, you think you want to be a teacher. That doesn't mean you're locked in because you take 1 or 2 of those classes. Maybe you're kind of on the bubble, and by taking 1 or 2 of those classes, oh, I don't want to do that. Or maybe by taking 1 or 2 of those classes, you say, well, I really want to be a teacher. We have, through the last couple of years, with our students, have taken over 30 online classes through Zane State College. So again, I want to stress, there's ways to be in CCP without having to go to OUL. If transportation is an issue, or if you're an athlete or in the band, and you say, I can't make it back in time. Well, we offer opportunities through the colleges online. We're opening a relationship up starting next year with Columbus State Community College. We're going to offer first-year college Spanish, second-year college Spanish, or second semester it would be since it's college. And we're also going to offer a music theory course through Columbus State Community College. So we are really trying, besides saying you got to go here and go there, we're really trying to also bring as much to our building as we can. And so much of that is based on our qualifications of who can teach it. You know, the colleges look at the degrees that the particular teacher has and what area they have their particular degrees in, and that determines if they're eligible to teach it or not. But that's nice additions coming into the high school. Last year, between going to OUL and taking online classes through OUL, we've upped our number of courses in the computer for OUL to 80-some courses. So there are many opportunities for students to take many good classes. We have 2 who have taken classes at COTC in Norfolk. We had 4 over the last couple of years that have taken classes at Ohio Christian University online. So it's a wide range of what you want to do and can do with this, and I just really wanted to emphasize that. Transportation, though, is a lot of times a concern. And obviously, I can say it as a joke to the student, Mom and Dad's going to buy you a car. Then I get some dirty looks. The biggest thing I would stress to parents, if your son or daughter is going to OU to take classes on campus, I am very careful of travel time. I'm not going to look at a student and say, well, that class starts at 9 o'clock, you can be there in 10 minutes. No. There's going to be enough time from when they leave here to go there, or if they're there coming back to here to take a class, there will be enough travel time because we know you can make it to OUL in 10 or 15 minutes, but you also know you could have a day like yesterday. And a 10 or 15 minute trip would be awfully long. The last thing I'll emphasize from the chart that I have typed up there is academic and social responsibility. I cannot stress enough to the students that are in the audience here, and this is a big step if you decide to do it because you're taking college classes through a college. You have to make sure you want to do that. Not based on your best friends doing that, or the gang you hang around with at the lunch period are doing it. Do you want to do this? It's very important that you look at it that way because I don't want to see anybody start their college career through CCP with P's and F's. You know, this is something you want to take on. In my years of being involved with this, clear back when it was post-secondary enrollment options, we've had valedictorians who have taken these classes. We've had valedictorians who have said, I'd rather stay at the high school. Again, it's a personal choice. A lot of it ties into athletics, being back here in time. A lot of it ties into, for example, being involved with Mrs. Fisher in the afternoon with the vocal music, Mr. Green in the afternoon with the band. Can you go back and forth? But again, I'll emphasize the plus is we have a lot of classes now being offered here, and we have the opportunities for students to take online. And what I do scheduling-wise with students that are taking online, I don't expect you to have 7 classes because that's the policy here. So you might have, for example, I'll use Mrs. Whitaker again. Calculus is blocked first, second period. So maybe you have calculus first and second period, and then you're taking one of those comp classes third period. I'll put you in the cafeteria fourth period for what I call CCP study hall. And we do not have study halls, but I've convinced the administration study halls of that nature are important for CCP kids, students, excuse me. Because you've just taken a 2-hour class of math and an English college class. Maybe you need to regroup yourself, re-energize yourself. And that's also a time, if a student's taking an online class, they can work online during that CCP study hall. So we could have some students that are CCP students that might have 2 or 3 CCP study halls. And that could be because they're taking 2 or 3 online classes from the various colleges that our students participate with. So that's one of the things I work individually with the student with. So you can come into the high school some days and you can look in the cafeteria and see 5 kids. But they're CCP students. Or you can see one. I think first period this semester there's 2 students. And they're either here because they start second period with the CCP class, or they're working with an online class, something of that nature. That's basically what I have for my checkoff list. I somewhat jump around, but I want to make sure I emphasize everything and anything. Does anybody have questions for me? Yes?
Is there still a CCP American History class, and what grades is that for?
The CCP American History class was shut down.
Okay.
And the reasoning was, and I'm a former social studies teacher, so I really wanted it, but they could not figure out how to get the teacher from the middle school to be up here during the school day, only during that 0 hour. And we were not getting a good number of students in it because Think about the student. I'm going to be in history 6:45 instead of 7:30, but then maybe I don't have a class till the third period. So what was happening is we have 5 or 6 students take first semester and nobody takes second semester because of that. But again, the exchange was we did add some of those other classes. Now, that same Zane State history class can be taken online through Zane State, and it's still the exact same class. Any other questions? Yes?
Are classes like online through colleges over the summer?
What's that?
Can you take classes over the summer? And does that count as part of this?
Good question. Summer school. You're allowed to take CCP classes in the summer between a particular school year, like 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. You cannot take a CCP summer course after graduation. The biggest thing I advise students on that is summer school sometimes can be a short block of time, like maybe, 6 weeks every day. So I try to advise the student, maybe if you're going to do something in the summer, only take 1 class, because you're really hustling. Our students have had a hard time doing the first session of summer school because most colleges start their first session of summer school while we're still in school in May. But we have had some students do the second session. And again, that's one of those things, if you apply and you're accepted and you want to do it, yeah, we'll work it out. Anything else? I'm not a strong person for online classes because I guess I'm from that older generation that you have to have somebody in front of you talking. But I mean, it is the wave of what's going on in high school and in college. So it's not a bad experience for a college student at a young age to get that experience of taking a college online course. And one of the things that I know Zane State does is they have a 1 credit hour course as an introduction to how that course is taught. And some students complete it in 4 weeks, some in 3. There's no time limit on it. The idea is to get that course so you understand the procedures for taking an online class. And I'll be honest with you on this, and I'm not going to mention names here, but we do have a list of particular professors from Zane State who teach online classes that if you come in and tell me you're taking that class and I get the professor's name, I will strongly suggest don't take that class. And again, from our previous experience, and I don't mean anything against that person, it's just college professors are a little different than high school professors, and taking a class online is a little different than taking it face-to-face. A change I wanted to mention, you can still take the Zane State College psychology class, but we eliminated that requirement that you have to take the first semester with us for introduction to psychology. Because we were finding out that students were still taking it online through Zane State without taking that introductory course. So looking for the high school benefit, that's freeing up a teacher for another period that we can use, for another particularly different class. Any other questions? I will have a second meeting. I try to schedule 2 to the benefit of the parents. I know some people can make this one. They work during the day. Some parents can't make this because of their hours. So I have one next Wednesday, 7:45 to 8:30. You're still welcome to attend that one, even though you've attended this one, if you have questions come up. All right? And I've had parents stop in, and you don't have to stay for the whole meeting, but I'm here in the auditorium. Last year I think I had 3 people. So I'm here for those 3 people until they want to leave. So if you do have a question and you want to come in that morning, feel free to. I'll leave here tonight driving home, and I'll think, oh man, I should have said this, I should have said that. That always happens when you're having an information kind of meeting. So if you think of something, feel free to call or email me, all right? And maybe I don't get back that instant, but I will get back to you. And then if we do need to meet in my office, well, then we'll set up a time for us to meet, you, I, and your son or daughter if we have to. 2 other pages in the packet. Page 2, it says return this page to Mr. Duplinsky, Guidance Office by April 1st, 2023. You see in parentheses, it says April 7th, 2023. I was in a good mood when I put this together, so I'll wait till April 7th. I think April 1st is Saturday, so I thought, I don't want to get bombarded on a Friday. Now, I understand that sometimes, for example, I wanted to have this meeting about 2 weeks ago, but I had various things come up causing me to put it off. Then I had to, obviously, wait until Mrs. Fisher had a clear date for me because of the plague going on. So I need this by no later than April 7th, so that actually gives you an extra week. What I need at the top is the student's name and the parent's name. Please print the student's name nice and neat, because obviously if your signature down at the bottom looks like my signature, I wouldn't be able to tell who it is. I need a student signature and a parent signature. And if you notice A, B, C, D, you can check all 4 of those if you want. You can check 1 of those if you want. You can check 3 of those if you want. Letter A means you're going to participate just with Zane State College classes here. Letter B is you're interested in the Columbus State classes here. Letter C is you're interested in OUL, whether it's attending there or online. And letter D is if you have a totally different college, like I just mentioned, COTC or Ohio Christian. You're not locked into anything with this. That's just giving me an idea of what I'm dealing with in terms of the colleges. Once I receive the paperwork starting Monday of next week, I will have the procedures the students follow for application. I already have OULs. I already have Zane States. I pulled up Columbus States, but theirs is still dated for this year. So I have to get a hold of somebody over there. But OUL and Zane State, and as I can see from Columbus State, it's going to be all online. So that makes it nice for you. But you still have to go through me because I have to give the student what is called their SSID number, which is their state ID number. And that's like giving out a social security number. I don't just want that floating all over the place. So I'd rather give it face-to-face to the student. Questions on page 2? Yes?
This, the 7th is actually Good Friday, and that's spring break week. Can we turn it in Monday, April 10th?
Well, that's spring break week.
That's spring break week. You don't want to be here collecting papers.
No, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going anywhere, but I know I'm not going to.
Not going to be here.
Yeah, I'll take it to 10th then. I forgot to check that.
Yep.
Thank you. I'll take it up through the 10th then. But I appreciate the sooner the better for both of us, the student and me, because the sooner I get it, the students can start applying. Thank you for catching that for me. We were putting together our schedule for when we're going to talk with the 9th graders. And thank God, Lynette Emmer, who's the guidance secretary, she said, Tom, that's on spring break. I said, I don't know how I can miss a vacation like that, but I don't know. It happens, I guess. Page 2 comes back to me. Page 3 is the state required form. It also comes back to me, but I have to keep this on file. And it does say April 1st, but again, I'll make that April 10th also, okay? So both forms have to come back to me, but not the information page. That's for yours or to throw away. Questions? I hope I stressed the positives and the negatives, and I think there are more positives involved with this program. My big thing is, and even above and beyond costing you some money, and I don't want to see anybody have to pay for a class, but my big thing is, as their school counselor, I don't want to see a student start out in the negative. You know, I don't want to see a student take 2 or 3 college classes and have 2 D's and an F when I know that's a good student. That's why I want the students to be real cautious about if they are doing it. And I can say this with pride about our students here. 90-some% of our students are AP students in these classes. And some of the students who have failed a course are AP students. But the biggest thing, and I want the students to listen to this, the biggest thing that the students have the toughest time adjusting to is time management. I have the class Monday and Wednesday. I I don't have anything Tuesday, Thursday morning. All of a sudden, I don't have anything Monday, Tuesday, Thursday morning. Time management is the biggest thing a student has to get used to. And again, a professor saying, make sure you're reading the book. Not like in a history class in high school, read pages 10 through 20 for tomorrow. That's the biggest things that students have told me it's tough to adjust to. And they've also told me sometimes it's tough to understand a college professor because some of them like to let you know they're experts. And some of them are experts. I don't mean that as a negative, but they talk at a high level sometimes. But the majority of the professors that we have dealt with through OU and Zane State have been very receptive to the high school students being in this program. They've actually thought it's kind of neat because, OU, for example, OUL has college students my age, the traditional college student right out of high school. Now they're getting a third type of student, the high school student, and they really like that. But just please think it through as a student before you say this is what I'm going to do. And I want to stress this, you turn those pages into me, you're not locked into anything. I give you the application process. You don't have to apply. Just tell me I'm not going to apply. You can apply and be accepted, and then you can come in and tell me I've changed my mind. I'm going to wait till next year. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not locked into anything. I don't get a dime from many of the colleges for you doing this. So don't feel like you're locked into something, all right? Any questions? Yes?
Is there a link on the LU website to see what college courses are available? Or
The only one I can tell you, we'll be putting our course of studies into the website, so it'll identify the courses that are taught here. For the particular colleges that are not teaching classes here, or even Zane State, if you want to see other classes, you actually have to go to their website and pull up their course catalog.
And the online classes that you have for Liberty Union, is that available somewhere as well?
Our online classes, that's not really posted in the course catalog. That's something Student Union gets from me.
Okay.
The big thing you want to realize is, and this ties in a little bit to your question, the college could tell you no to a particular class for their reasons. If you're pursuing an online class, let's say through Zane State or OUL, something like that. I know, for example, with OUL, their ASL, their American Sign Language classes fill up quick. And a lot of times we'll have students, they'll tell me, well, I'm on the waiting list. And then maybe a week or so later, they'll come in and say, I got in. 2 people decided not to take it or something like that. Anything else? That's all I have then. I'll hang around here for a little while. If you need to ask me anything that you didn't want to ask to our group, thank you for attending. I hope you got something out of it.